Welcome to the Best You podcast, where we explore the journey of inner peace, harmony, and joy that comes from living authentically. Every week, we will dive into transformative conversations that describe both the way you can create behavioral change for yourself and how to create the conditions that promote peace, harmony, and joy around you. Whether you're seeking balance, deeper relationships, or a spark of inspiration, you're in the right place. So today we're going to talk about sense of chaos on today's episode of The Best You. And Scott and I just felt like it would be a great topic because I don't know about you all, but I've just been feeling like so much chaos, and it just feels like rubble, like things falling down, whether it's for all of us or in our personal lives or in our groups, just like stuff falling down and not working, like tech doesn't seem to be working as well. And you try to go do A, B, and C, and you get X, Y, and Z, and just working through what feels like a pile of trash that may not be so easy or comfortable. How about you, Scott? What's it like for you right now?
Well, honestly, I think every day for me and probably for most of our listeners, I think we've talked, Sana. I think every day can be feeling like there's chaos if you let it.
Yeah,
I mean, no day goes perfectly. There's always going to be a curveball. And I think this is going to be a great episode because it's really not what the world's doing to you, it's how you're responding to the world. And
that's
so I'm
right.
excited to have this conversation.
That's right. The world is going to world. And so the only thing you can control is your response to it. That being said, like this time around the election, after the election, like half the country is heartbroken and devastated, and the others excited. Half are feeling like we're moving into greater chaos. The others feel like we're moving out of greater chaos. But either way, whether you feel like it's coming or going, it can just feel really rough. And so um, I think just being transparent with that and our own challenges and reminders and practices to that it's okay to feel overwhelmed and challenged. It's very human, as Scott said. And what can we do about it? What can we do about it? Because it's also easy to just feel overwhelmed and get angry or depressed or anxious and give up, get mad, take it out on ourselves, take it out on other people. A lot of unhealthy outlets, and maybe we could focus on the healthier ones. So what's it like for you, Scott, when you're encountering chaos, whether in small bits or big bits? Um, what's the experience for you, and what are your best, most reliable approaches for not just dealing with it, but for rising above?
Sure. So, I'm always big into giving examples, and real life are usually the best. But you know, as we were preparing for this, I was sharing with you that this week I was supposed to fly to another city and had some important business meetings, and I had to wake up early, and I had everything ready to go, and I woke up to immediately find out that the flight I was supposed to take was 3 hours delayed. And it's interesting that that was really the moment. I'll just tell you, it ended up getting canceled. I ended up having to get on another plane, and that was delayed, and my meetings were all at risk. I'm just going to tell you the punchline. It all worked out, but the bigger point is how I handled it. Um, you should appreciate that when I saw the flight was delayed 3 hours and I knew that was going to be a big problem, I literally sat my phone down and I went through a little bit of I have a morning ritual. And I would encourage everybody to have a morning ritual because, you know, these things can happen to you any time of the day. However, it's amazing how powerful and how strong and how well we can handle situations when we have a good foundation. And I think the morning is the time to set that foundation. And my ritual is truly to set peace in place in my body and my mind. And so I saw what was going on with the flight. I could have immediately called my airline and immediately tried to deal with it. But I knew from my experiences that I needed to find peace and calm. I needed to
Mm.
come at this with a good feeling. And so I went through my ritual, and I will tell you, it takes a little time. Um, and when I did, I took up my phone. I literally did call Delta. I booked another. They had another flight that would get me in on time. I booked it, and all I can say is everything worked out. But it was really me just staying calm and just knowing that everything was going to work out the way it was supposed to be. That trusting the universe. I trust God, but also knowing that not only is God going to take care of me, the universe going to take care of me, but also knowing that it gives me opportunities to grow. And I truly believe, our listeners are all trying to grow and trying to live their best lives, be their best yous. And the only way you can get better at things is playing in the game, is being tested. And the true tests are when you least expect them, and then how you respond.
Yeah, I love that. And I think the key word there was growth. I think the idea is that if we meet a challenge that feels hard, that definition of a challenge, we can grow to become bigger and more capable than the challenge. And if we don't think we need to grow, or if we don't think we should grow, then we're going to be smaller than the challenge, and we're going to continue to feel challenged by the challenge. So, um, and the advantage of growing is that then those things and things like it don't feel like such a big deal. You can just work through them and go on about your business. And if we do that every time that there is a challenge, then we get a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger. And then life doesn't feel quite as challenging because we've grown. So there's many wonderful, and I want to hear about your morning practice, Scott, but there are many principles that support this idea. One of them is about adult development theory. So there's a psychologist named Keegan who talks about our ability to understand and manage complexity. And the more complexity we can understand and manage, the more we feel empowered and in control and have agency and feel at ease. And the opposite is also true. And so what Keegan says is that the way we grow in our ability to understand and manage complexity is to grow. That when there's a challenge, that we can see it as an opportunity to grow and become bigger and better, or not, in which case we might just feel stuck and maybe helpless in the wake of so much chaos. And I'm calling it rubble, all these pieces falling down, that we could feel helpless and crushed by it. And this is also very in keeping with what Joseph Campbell teaches us about the hero's journey. So, so he studied the myths and tales and stories across time and culture and said, what are the stories of humanity trying to teach us? And it is all about rising to the challenge. And he identified this framework as the hero's journey. And so the epic stories of our time, like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or The Wizard of Oz, the hero sets out to conquer something, but it's on the outside. And they have to find that the solution lies within them, that they have to learn and grow and become bigger. And so the journey is really internal. And so this is in keeping with Keegan's theory. And again, that when we change from the inside out, we become bigger than our challenge. And an even more modern take on that is this idea of, everybody's heard of PTSD, but there's this thing called post-traumatic growth. So big challenge, big growth and learning opportunity, such that you can have so much growth from a trauma that you can actually move into thriving. And that's my own story after losing my sister and husband to cancer in 2018, I was like, I need to lean into post-traumatic growth. And I just kept saying to myself, what do I need to learn to get through this thing right here? So, I feel like what Scott has said could not be more important. So Scott, what is your morning? Well, do you have anything to add to that? And then could you share with us your morning routine?
First, I do want to just say that I appreciate you sharing. I've never heard of post-traumatic growth before, but I think that's incredibly powerful and incredibly important to keep in mind. Um, I think we are all amazing. We all are unique. We're all special. We all have tremendous potential. But the only way to get anywhere close to that potential is to grow. I mean, we are where we are, but if we really try to be the best we can be our best you, we need to have challenges. It's a little different than if you want to get strong, you can't just look at weights. You actually got to lift them. If you want to, learn about any type of subject, you can't just think about it. No, you've got to read about it. You got to watch things. I mean, you've got to challenge yourself. You got to spend time on things. And so, I just think any opportunity to grow is important. But I'll tell you, the best opportunities I think are some of the biggest challenges. And I don't know that it has to be a trauma, but I do think traumas do help you grow a lot. But I think your best growth opportunities truly are some of your you know, biggest fears, getting up and speaking in front of a big group of people, doing it, having to work on a big project, playing a big sporting event in front of a lot of screaming fans. I mean, those are things that I think a lot of people look forward to, in their careers or in their lives, but then in that moment, there can be a lot of fear. And so I just encourage everybody um, to embrace their fears, to just understand, don't do stupid things, but there's so many things in life that look hard and actually could be some trauma associated with, but it's amazing when you do them, how you learn about yourself, you gain confidence, you gain courage, and again, you grow. As far as my morning routine goes, I will tell you, I am very superstitious and have something that I do pretty consistently every day. And it's interesting. The first thing I do every day is I get up and go outside. I've got some dogs, so I let them out to go run around the backyard. I go get the newspaper. But the more important thing is that I actually spend some time with my senses. And I literally, it's an interesting thing. And I've been doing it for a while. Somebody told me about it, but I literally take my time to just, you know, take in the fresh air. I feel it. So, the sense of touch and feel. I mean, I literally feel it against my body. I smell. And it's interesting when you smell, how you smell nature, and there's smells if you really pay attention. But it's amazing. We go through the day, through our life, not even paying attention to our smell out in nature, but it's, that you can smell things. Sound. It's very interesting in the morning. You can hear cars, you can hear airplanes, you can hear birds, you can hear chirps. I mean, there's all these different things, but you feel connected there, and even sight. And I'm oftentimes in my backyard, but it's amazing as seasons change and there's just different things going on, just paying attention. But it really grounds me and it calms me, and it really does help the foundation that I look for the day. But I'll just tell you, that's not the end. I also do some meditation and some breathing, which are different but related. And I also have a series of things that I read and think about to kind of help me think about things that are going to help that are going to happen through the day and help me kind of mentally prepare myself. So it takes a little bit more time, and I've added the things over the years. All I can say is this: um, when I feel calm and when I feel prepared for the day, it's amazing how you can throw almost anything at me and I'm ready. And by the way, I'm not just ready to be calm, but I'm ready to have harmony, kind of work with it, all supposed to happen. I'm going to make music with it, and the most important thing is I'm going to have joy throughout the day because I truly believe it's meant to happen, and I'm going to be in the moment, and I'm going to get the best experience that I can.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Scott. So you're, using your senses in nature is really a mindfulness practice, and it's so beautiful. And yeah, anybody can do it, and that's such a great reminder of how it can be very simple. And it's an investment in your peace so that you don't get off track later in the day, because research shows that we lose 2 hours per week on conflict, just conflict, fighting with each other. So, not to mention all the other ways we're being unproductive. So, just investing in that peace and clarity can really pay off, and and being ready. So, when something happens, it doesn't have to throw you for a loop. But I think those things can also really just be, if you really look at them as lessons, then they can also really show you, they can be an invitation for you to learn and grow in the way you most need it. Again, because if it weren't challenging for you, then it wouldn't be a lesson you need. Um, so I had a recent incident where it was, uh, yeah, I'll just say it was identity theft. And I mean, it was a really good reminder for me of staying grounded and remembering that, to keep calm and keep my peace and just work through the problem. And the calmer I was, the more effectively I could do that. And I felt like it was a blessing because there were some places that I needed to shore up, obviously. But I also was just so grateful to see, like, the old me would have really freaked out. And so it was a good litmus test for myself to see how much I've been able to grow. But those practices of mindfulness and, um, using your senses and checking in with yourself, like, they're so important and grounding. And I feel like other practices such as just being like, just that allows you to be really present and in the moment, because I could have freaked out about what might have happened, but and they still may happen. You never know. But most of them did not happen, at least so far. And so I could have spent a lot of time and energy on that, worrying about something that probably won't occur. So, and also being okay with not knowing, just doing my best to set things straight again, and learning to be more careful in the future.
Yeah, those are great, and there's so many ways that we can help our mind stay in a good place. Again, I think if you believe in God, that's a great one, right? Because you just trust that God's going to take care of you. He can give you what you need when you need it. But if you don't believe in God, and even when you believe in God, there's so many other things that your mind can do to give you comfort and to keep you calm. And I do think things like, even identity theft. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? I mean, it could take some time to fix. They might take some money, but money's replaceable. They're just, you really start to think the worst case. You still get your health, you still get your family, still get your friends. Okay, I think that's the perspective I encourage people to keep. The other thing I'm going to also say is, um, I'm a believer, whether you believe in God or just the universe, but I'm a believer that if you don't learn the lesson, you're going to get taught it again and again and again. And some people have it with when they're dating, they keep whoever they date, they keep having the same similar situations, and they're like, "Gosh, why do I keep attracting these types of people?" Well, maybe it's because you react or you handle people in a certain way. And if you can pay attention and you can learn how to have a relationship with the person, maybe you don't need that lesson anymore. And I just think that that's something that if we can just be aware of what's going on around us and we can, again, learn and grow, it's amazing how we can handle just about anything.
Yes, and in terms of the rubble analogy, like, just one rock, one piece at a time. And it's okay to of course, it's okay to feel overwhelmed or afraid, and let that be your guide for your growth and your healing. Because underneath that fear, there's a part of you that wants to be recovered, the one that feels powerful and safe and brave and able to accomplish any of life's brick hurdles that get thrown at you. So I'd love to invite you all to the platform of the Foundation for Family and Community Healing, to explore our learning skill development courses on topics like this. So we have relationship well-being that teaches mindfulness and perspective taking. And we're going to have a new course on mindfulness-based stress reduction coming up in sometime this year. We have one on the hero's journey and wellness and hearing for healing. And Scott has some wonderful resources on the Peace, Harmony, Joy Alliance website as well.
And I'm also, again, you heard me speak. I'm a lifelong learner and student, and I have taken a number of Sanna's classes on her platform. Highly recommend them. Very much on topic with what we're talking about today, and I think can help you learn and grow a lot.
Yes, and check out Scott's beautiful book. It's got so many beautiful suggestions and guidances and inspirations for moving into peace, harmony, and joy. And there's some richness in there for everybody. So thanks for joining us on The Best You, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to the Best You podcast. We hope today's conversation sparked some new ways for you to cultivate your inner peace, connect meaningfully with others, and embrace the joy of living in harmony. Remember, being the best version of yourself isn't a destination. It's a daily practice of growth, reflection, and kindness to yourself and those around you. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd love it for you to subscribe, share it with somebody who'd benefit, and leave a review to help us spread the message of peace and joy. Stay connected, stay inspired, and we'll see you next time on The Best You.